Good afternoon, everybody. Story time. 57 update. Why don't you guys check out the new intro, or whatever intro it is, and be back in just a second. Alrighty then. We are back at it. Look, lava lamp. It's pretty cool. And oh yeah, this is a vintage in the box still Champ 500 steering wheel horn adapter thing, which I'm going to put in there. So this story time has to do with the very first time when we moved here and I shipped my coupe out. I didn't tell you that story. It was pretty interesting. So December 1st, 2010. Let me put you in this chair. December 1st, 2010. Whoa, that's not high enough. Up here. I'm up here. December 1st, 2010. You guys know I lost a bet with my wife, and that's why we ended up moving here. And that was August 1st. If I didn't have a new contract signed with Boise State, or the new College of Western Idaho at the time, signed by August 1st, because the first day of school was August 17th, I figured it was a lead pipe cinch. I'd have a contract. If I didn't have that, or a contract with another shop to go run it as a working consultant, if I didn't have that nailed down, then we would sell everything that we had and move over to Hawaii. The only condition was I was bringing my 46 Chevy coupe. You guys have seen pictures of it. Tons and tons of pictures. I'll put one more up right here for you. And then one now that looks like finished. And over in Australia. It's a good looking car. So here's a picture of it. Actually on the island over on the North Shore, kind of north, I guess northwestern part of the island. Is that right? Let me think about this. Yeah, northwest. Yeah, so it's northwest part. Little town called Aloha. It's pretty cool. I was on my way out there. It's really small. It's almost a one-lane road. Pretty remote. Similar. So anyway, before that, so December 1st, I painted the car. Actually, my buddy helped me paint it. We masked it all off and painted it hot rod flats blacker, but a flat black. And drove it December 2nd to Reno, Nevada. At the time, I was using a company called Pasha, P-A-S-H-A. They are a shipping company that's based out of Hawaii that ships, they're a Hawaii-owned and shipping company based out of Hawaii that ships the cars inside a big container ship, almost like a ferry. They just park cars inside it, and the military uses them, and all new car companies use Pasha. And they had one boat, and their office, ironically enough, was in Reno, Nevada, where my parents were living at the time and where I grew up. From like 10 years old to like high school, 9 or 10 to high school, with Cameron, after high school. So I drove down there, actually went to their office, and it was the first time, they didn't have a lobby, it was the first time he ever showed up and paid for the thing at their office. So I showed up, paid him like $1,000, and that was the trip, taxes and everything to ship it over. But I had to have the car in Hayward, California by the 4th, I think, 4th or 5th. So the following morning we got up, and like we're talking going over Donner Summit, and this is in December. Yeah, there was snow. You bet there was snow. So we hit the road. Heater on, I had a Vantage Air AC unit in the car, had defrost, had power steering, power brakes. At the time I had an automatic in it and 241 gears in the back of that car. That's what was in it. So the thing rolled right along. It had the same hot motor I had in it, but I had a pretty stock cam in it. So the thing would get pretty good mileage in the 20s, definitely in the 20s. It would roll right along at like 80 without even working. Like 2,200 RPMs, I think it was like 85. It was screaming down the highway. The thing would just fly. So we went up over Donner Summit, my wife and I got some pictures of it here at a gas station where we had gone through the snow, and you could see where the water had like pinstriped the whole car. And then we dropped it off. I'll put up a bunch of pictures of that. It's really cool. And then she got out and she was taking pictures of it. And it was kind of had a cool effect on the sides of the car and the hood and the roof. The water had dried on it. And we ended up hitting Hayward, and then the guy came out and inspected it, and we dropped the car off with Paisha. And they were going to take it from Hayward, California, which is up by San Francisco, Oakland area. They were going to go from there and truck it down to San Diego. And it was going to be picked up in San Diego, put on the ship, and then they were going to ship it over to Hawaii. It was going to hit Oahu first, and then they would come here to Maui and get dropped off, and then it's ready for pickup. Now, I had heard, and I had done some research, that it takes roughly 3 weeks for a car to get over here. So we had planned on 3 weeks to a month. We had planned on, shipping it over there, and then one of us coming over earlier or whatever. And I think within 6 days, I got a phone call, and the car was already over here on Maui. So I think by the 10th or 11th of December, the car was already here. And they were going to start charging me $25 a day for storage. And so I had known a few people over here already in Hawaii through various online forums, because the forums were big at the time, or had been earlier, and I had done through JAWS, being my company JAWS. That was the acronym, or that was my avatar name for whatever, for all those other, that was my name, my avatar. It's not really a name, but that was my screen name, I guess, for, it was Jackson Auto Wire Service. But that was that was the company I had in Idaho, and that was my name. And when I was doing like motorcycles or hot rods or whatever, and sharing technical stuff on the forums, or being a productive member, that's what everybody knew me as, JAWS. So that's where my YouTube channel started with JAWS. Was, I remember, it was a long time ago. Anyway, but then I started being C. That's how the name got connected. Anyway, so the car was already over here, and I contacted some people, private message, who I knew lived in Hawaii, and a couple of them were like, oh yeah, okay, we can check on it, and they knew somebody who knew somebody. And then I contacted Paisha. I'm like, look, I'll grab a plane and I'll be there as fast as I can, but is there something we can do? And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem, we'll figure it out, but we're probably going to have to charge it for a little bit. I said, okay. So I took enough money with me to ended up flying over at the end of December, end of that month, hurry up and fly over. And I left my wife with selling the house, selling off everything in my shop. I had given all my tools and stuff away, and all my other cars I had given away or sold. But most of the tools and stuff I had given away, because I had friends that were coming over asking if they could borrow this and borrow that. And I really didn't know what the future had in store for us over here, so I was willing to just get rid of everything and start from square one, ground zero. No tools, no nothing. I was just shipping the car over, which was, I'd put 7 years and 150,000 miles on that coupe already, so I wasn't that concerned about it. So we sent the car over, and I didn't have quite 7 years, maybe 5 years at that time. Sent the car over. I came over, and I had enough money to pay for the car, and I brought $75 with me in my pocket, which was dumb. My dad, before I got on the airplane, he slipped me a few more bucks, which, thanks a lot, Dad. That helped out a lot. And I figured I'd hit here and it'd be just like anywhere else. Show up in Idaho or whatever. I could just walk into a shop or whatever and be like, hey, you need to hire me. I want a job. And they would just hire me right away. Because that's the way I was used to. I was used to just, pretty much just old-fashioned. Walk in, shake hands. They need help. I can help them. Hire me. And so I was expecting it to be like that. So I hit the ground running over here. I knew where my car was, and I knew I didn't want to lug my suitcase out of the airport into a taxi and then go find my car and have to lug so I went and left my suitcases on the garage. I didn't even go down to baggage claim. Went straight out, grabbed in a taxi, and the taxi driver was really mad at me, because I didn't want to go to the other side of the island, which is a big paycheck for them, right? So she picked me up, and she grumbled the entire time. Little Filipino lady, just grumble, grumble, grumble. And we drove over to maybe a mile away from the airport, over to a place called Tri-Isle Trucking. And I walked in, and it turned out that a cousin of somebody I knew somebody over there, and an police officer they knew, and they were keeping an eye on my car. In fact, Tri-Isle was storing it inside their big warehouse with all their like other freight. They kept my car inside, and they had washed it and had plastic on the seats. And when they knew I was coming, I had called them before I got on the plane or the day before, and they had had it ready for me. I showed up there, and they were super nice. They didn't charge me anything extra, nothing. So thank you, Tri-Isle, that was the Aloha spirit. That's the way it is over here. People over here they're the best. They're super, super good people. Has nothing to do with money, has to do with just the way they are. It's called Aloha. So they were super sweet to me. I picked my car up. She was great. Fired her up instantly. Everybody was excited, waved at me, smiled. And then I motored all the way back to the airport. On my way to get the car, and on my way back from the airport, I passed this place called Hot Rod Alley, which was a hot rod, like a motorcycle shop. And there was an old hot rod truck outside. And I thought, I'm going to stop in and see that guy. So I grabbed my car, went to get my bags from security, but from the baggage carousel, but they had been taken by security. So I had to go over to the security office where they had them. And I got scolded because you're not supposed to leave your bags and leave the airport, and that was really irresponsible, and they were right, 100%, but I wanted my car. And you car guys know what I'm talking about. Other people aren't going to get it, but I wanted my car. I'd been without it for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. I wanted my car. And so on the way home, I went over, and my parents have their condo on the other side. So I grabbed my bags, grabbed the car, grabbed gas, a couple snacks, and I motored all the way to the other side, and I went by a gym, and I like to work out, so I stopped at the gym, and I got gym membership, and back up. So I made it to my parents' condo, and everything was there, and it was great, and I brought my bags up, everything was cool. I stood out in the back lanai, and the ocean is literally, let me give you an idea. So if the edge of my driveway right here, if this is the edge of the balcony of my parents' place, that Toyota truck, no. So halfway between, no, it's not true. So where those pink flowers are at the end of my driveway, this is all grass. There's some palm trees right there. And that fence post would be the start of the beach. And then it goes out to maybe middle of the street, and that'd be the ocean. From the second floor. That's how far that's what my parents look at every night. And it's really hard to sleep with the ocean crashing every night for a while. Like it gets loud. The ocean, it's kind of loud. I know it's a tough life. But anyway, that went down. And then the next thing was, so on my way back, I got bored. I was there for like 5 minutes. I was like, what am I doing now? I want to go drive my car around Hawaii. So I fired my car up. I left all my bags and stuff in the condo. I took off, and we motored down to, I went over to that hot rod shop. And I went to the hot rod shop, and I walked in, and this guy, Hal Davis, was there. And the guy who owned the shop was not there, but Hal was. And Hal said, I said, hey, how's it going? We talked, and he told him I just moved here, and he saw my car, and he was a gearhead. So he was like, hey, welcome to the island, welcome home. And I was like, thank you. I said, you guys need help? And he said, no, but when the guy gets here in a week, I'll have him call you. And I said, that'd be cool. I looked around at some choppers and stuff, and I had some worked on some bikes. I had some bikes and choppers, and then I looked at that, and everything was great. And then on my way back, I saw the gym. I told you about it a second ago. Whipped by the gym, and I'm like, I need to get a gym membership because I got to work out in the morning. So I pulled in, got gym membership, and then I decided I was going to work out anyway. So I went back, changed. I was in board shorts already, so I just went and crawled in the gym, started working out. And they had like a rack, like a Smith machine, leg machine, and it kind of moved funny. And I was like, well, I just need to tighten that up. So I went out to my car, because I always carried tools in the trunk because you never know when something's going to break, and not on my car, but usually on somebody else's. Same reason I carry tools in this is because there's always somebody broke down on the side of the road, and I like to stop and help people. So that's what I went in there, grabbed a screwdriver and a crescent wrench. I just went back to the equipment to fix it real quick. And the girl came over and goes, what are you doing? I said, well, this thing was going to break, so I just fixed it. And she said, we don't have a maintenance person. And I said, you don't? And she said, no. I said, do you want one? And so she paid me like $25 an hour, and free gym membership to, which was a nightmare, by the way, canceling it with a corporation that owned member. If you ever have to cancel a gym membership, even though it's a privately owned gym, they usually have a finance company or a private company that manages the memberships. That was a nightmare. But anyway, they offered me money and I got to work out whenever I want and I got to fix equipment. I only had to work a couple hours a day if I wanted to. I just wrenched on stuff and I went through and maintained and got all their equipment back up to specs, which is pretty cool because some of the stuff was unsafe. And then, like my friend said, like Hal said, that guy called me like the next week and I got a job at the hot rod shop. So I went at the motorcycle shop. So I would go to the gym in the morning and work out, go clear the hot rod shop, work half a day and then go back. And that's all I did all day long. I did that several days for weeks. And then I was looking for more work, another job, because I was actually coming over here I had already had a job pre-set up with another company. And but the guy who owned it wasn't back either. So I was using this job. I was going to do like 3 jobs. Because I figured make as much money as I can while my wife is over here and stock up as much as we can because we got to rent a place because my parents' place is not going to be able to stay there forever. So I had to actually rent a place. So that's what I was doing, was saving money. And went to work for this other guy who didn't pay me, actually. He just didn't pay me. He's like, I don't have any money, I had to pay my taxes. He would give me all these excuses. And I showed him why a toolbox has wheels. I literally left one day at lunch and went down to another shop, walked in, and 2 hours later walked out with an armload of shirts and went back up and grabbed my toolbox from that shop and took it down and put it in that other shop. And that's how it worked. Went to work for that shop for a while. That was Kiwi Car Care I went to work for. Good guys. My buddy Kim owns it. He's from New Zealand, obviously. Super cool guy. Gearhead for sure. But yeah, that's the story of me shipping the coupe over here and my first roughly week or 2 or 3 here. I just drove around everywhere. And ironically, this is weird, and you car guys might understand this, but people that are not car guys, when they see an old black, chopped, white-walled, 40s coupe custom, they think the movie Cobra and that Merkin Cobra. They asked me if that's a movie car out of the movie Cobra. I was like, no, this is a Chevy. That's a Mercury. Not even the same. You know what I'm talking about. It's like someone asked me what year my 57 Chevy is. What year is that Ford? What do you mean, Ford? It's not a Dodge. I'll see you guys later. Aloha. Merry Christmas. Whatever. Happy New Year. Happy Saturday story time.